Hey everyone, what up? Matt Kaiser here. Granblue Fantasy Relink. That game is real. Not only that, but for those who've just now looked at my newest intro and have a killer's eyes.
What was that?
Killer eyes, you got killer eyes. They're great at seeing stuff. Not only that, but yeah, obviously one of my clips for the intro is Namaya from Granblue Fantasy Relink. And why I'm covering this and why I even put that is because, well, I'm actually excited for this game and have been for a little while, honestly. And recently my hype for the game has increased so much that some of my friends who didn't know about this game's existence is, well, actually keen for it now and is considering on trying it when it comes out, hopefully. But for those who probably not know, is that Granblue Fantasy Relink has actually been in development for a long time. Actually, it's been like the development for this game was about say 7 years ever since its unveilment back in 2016. So, for those who are interested in this game, I decided to give a little recap about its little development and how it changed from a different beast from what we used to know, but is still actually looking promising and hype. But before I begin, if you like RPGs and especially are interested in Granblue Fantasy Relink, then by all means like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell notification, as this channel will be covering all that Granblue Fantasy Relink will have to offer, especially up to its eventual release. So without ado, let's begin this recap. So before I talk about Relink, I might as well tell a little bit of context about Granblue Fantasy, just for those who may not know what it is. So Granblue Fantasy was pretty much a cultural phenomenon in both Japan and in ways also the West as well, with the game with Granblue Fantasy launching in 2014 as an MMORPG with turn-based combat and was available on both PC and mobile devices. Not only that, but this whole game was spearheaded by two of our fantasy veterans, one being art director Hideo Manaba and the other one being legendary composer himself, Nobuo Uematsu. And yeah, it was a very popular phenomenon. Not only that, but in 2019, Granblue Fantasy would have an anime series, and yeah, in 2019 they would of course have a second season as well. And in 2020 they would also have a very popular fighting game called Granblue Fantasy Versus, made by of course the legendary Arc System Works for PlayStation 4 and Steam. So much so that it became so popular that the game will get an overhaul version known as Granblue Fantasy Rising Versus. Granblue Fantasy Versus Rising. Jeez, that's so many names. Anyway, that game alone is said to have things like netcode and crossplay at launch, and also improve the visuals and overall combat and all. But anyway, now we get to Relink. And the thing is that with this game, this was announced back at 2016 at PlayStation's press conference in Japan, and it was being developed by Platinum Games, same guys who did Nier Automata, Bayonetta, and Metal Gear Rising, and Cygames was in charge of its direction. It was originally meant to be released in 2018, with the console in question to be released, of course, being the PS4. Not only that, but their hopes and desires for Relink was for people who played either the mobile game or fighting game, or even watched the anime, was to get interested in this new action RPG. And for those who haven't experienced those, would be introduced to the whole Granblue Fantasy Relink, Granblue Fantasy universe in general. This game would have not only a single player mode with 3 AI Pi members, but we'll also have a co-op multiplayer mode that will be up to 4 players. Not only that, but the story for this game will take place in the same universe as the mobile game, but it will occur in a more New Fantasy location, or what it's called in the universe for Granblue Fantasy, the Skydom. Not only that, but the characters from both the mobile game and fighting game will make an appearance in this game. And a proper show of gameplay was from 2017 at GBF Fest, which is a fantasy festival that Granblue always held. And yeah, the gameplay looks really promising, and while it did not have an official name, in 2018 the final title, known as Granblue Fantasy Relink, was unveiled. All was pretty going well, but however things took a massive hit and shift, as in 2019 Platinum Games, the people who were working on Granblue Fantasy Relink, were announced that they were no longer working on it at all, and apparently it's stated that their contract with Side Games has ended and that Side Games will be the one doing the rest of the legwork. It's really unsure if that's true, or if Side Games really wanted to, they saw the vision of what they did with Platinum Games, and they thought that they should, start from over scratch and pick up the pieces. Then we come back to, say, last year, where Side Games would announce not only a formal release date for Relink, but also will be coming worldwide on Steam, PS4 and PS5 simultaneously. But unfortunately, this game would also get delayed again, and this was mainly due to the pandemic. And then in 2023, which we come to this year, being a new window, we do come back to the whole Granblue Fantasy Fest, and it's stated that things are going smooth, as it does seem that Granblue Fantasy Relink is at the final stages of development according to the producer, and they've also added some new characters and also shown the English dub, which seems to be comprised of characters that were in the fighting game as well, reprising their roles. And not only that, but this game seems to be published by Side Games themselves and not something like Xseed, which was responsible for, like, say, the fighting game. And it does seem that from what we see of the gameplay, that things are now looking at a smooth turn. So yeah, overall Granblue Fantasy Relink, while it may have taken a long time, and people may be questioning whether or not if this game is worth it, because some games that have incredibly long development times and get delayed multiple times tend to not have the best smooth launches. For example, No Man's Sky, as well as things like Cyberpunk 2077 and Fallout 76 being prime examples of that, and other things in general that I haven't mentioned. But it does seem from players who played the demo recently at a convention held by Side Games in Japan, seem to be pretty positive from what we can tell. But here we are this year, and it does seem that things are looking smooth, and hopefully Granblue Fantasy Relink does have an actual release date and does not get delayed for the last time. Like, hopefully it's smooth, hopefully it comes out pretty good, and I have to say, yeah, this game looks really awesome. But that sums up the whole thing about Granblue Fantasy and its, interesting long development. Anyway guys, that'll be it for the video, so let me know in the comments, are you guys looking forward to Granblue Fantasy Relink? Who are you maining? And yeah, just give me your thoughts overall. Anyway guys, thank you guys so much for watching, and see you guys in the next video. Mad Kaiser out.